it is that season that New Jerseyans and visitors of New Jersey look forward to coming down to the coast. And so as part of New Jersey Sea Grant Consortium's mission and vision, it is our job to our constituents, communities, coastal communities, individuals, local and state governments, to provide information to everyone so that they can make informed decisions. In particular, say, do I go down to the beach today? Are there rip currents out there? Is there a beach? And so, our goal is always to make sure that our constituents, our audience, our consumers, if you will, can make the best decisions possible based on the information that we can provide them through our research, our extension, our outreach, our education, and our communications. And so, and thank you. This is a communication-driven event today, so thank you to our Director of Communications, Samantha Chrysler, and our digital specialist, Yasmin Yilmaz, and our intern, Abby. There you go. So appreciate putting this together today. As I said, we want to get the best information out there, and we're pleased to have our presenters today from the author of the State of the Shore Report, Dr. John Miller at Stevens. He's our coastal processing specialist, and some other words from Laura KERR, our coastal resilience specialist for the consortium, but she's also at Stevens. And then much appreciative that the commissioner from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, SHAWN TOURETTE, can join us again today because we do a lot of things that overlap, particularly when it comes to the coast and the issues that we face. And we're pleased to have his participation and the state's partnership in these things since as long as I can remember at this event. And some of that is, we think of the state generates a lot of income. Our economy is strongly coastally driven, and so it's important that we have a healthy beaches, healthy environment, healthy biological life on our coast. And I think that's an important thing about New Jersey is because of these efforts from us and other organizations to the importance of the coast, to the state's belief in the importance of the coast, that we have a high quality of life along the shore. And so that's, want to put forth that high quality of life is what makes being in New Jersey great, or visiting New Jersey great. So the report that Dr. Miller will give is filled with lots of data, summarized data, but he gets it from raw data that we get from NOAA, the National Weather Service, hurricane centers, and other groups. And it's important to have that data so we can make informed decisions. So that is always a driving force. That's enough of that background, but I do want to, in your packets or on the one table, again, is at that time of year. So we have lots of beaches in New Jersey. Make sure you vote for your favorite beach. All right, we appreciate that. And I think, Sam, we got like several hundred votes already, coming in. And that event will be in July 17th in Ocean City, I believe. And also at that time, we will release our favorite photo contest winners. And so if you're a photographer or knows a photographer and has some nice New Jersey ocean-related or beach or coastal-related pictures, send in a photograph of that. And maybe you will get our, it would be the 2026 calendar, the 2026 calendar. So thank you for that advertisement. But I'm excited. I know there's going to be nice weather this weekend, so that gets me more excited. But I'm very appreciative, again, of our host and the fact that our presenters are here today. And so first up to present is Commissioner SHAWN TOURETTE. of the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. So, first of all, thank you to Dr. Rowe, to Dr. Miller, to Laura for having me be a part of this event once again this year. That ocean waters does look a little angry today, but will be beautiful this weekend, or so the forecast tells us. I probably don't need to tell those here that our coastline is a treasure, right? Breathtaking bays and tidal rivers, and of course our famed Jersey Shore. It's home to millions. It's a respite, a peaceful respite for millions others, a cherished getaway for visitors, and it's an economic engine that powers our state and this overall region in the Northeast, and it's a treasure that we have to conserve and to protect. So I'm really delighted to say that because of the great work of our teams at the DEP, at the local level, at the county level, our DEP coastal monitoring programs data indicates that water quality is excellent. And I want to thank in particular Director Vic Peretti of our Water Monitoring Standards Program at DEP, and the Beach Queen herself, Sherry Schifrin. Sherry, we did not get to get up in the sky to do our aerial monitoring this morning because of the weather, but we'll be up there soon. There's no getting away from me. I apologize in advance. But as folks here know, that the coastal program is part of our beach monitoring program more broadly, and it surveys our waters along the coast, along the Atlantic coast, but also along our northern lake shores all throughout the summer to make sure that our visitors know that water quality is protective of them and their families, and that they can enjoy our shorelines, whether you find them here up and down the Atlantic coast or elsewhere along our lake shores. Today, you're going to hear about a lot of things from Dr. Miller along the lines of the coastal erosion and hazards that we've faced this past year. So I certainly won't steal his thunder, except to say that our beaches are very much ready for residents and visitors to enjoy. Again, she looks a little angry today, but she's going to be inviting all summer long. You're going to hear about how our coastal erosion concerns are real, right? They're very present in our lives, and Dr. Miller's going to explain that. But our beaches today, they're ready because of the excellent work that our DEP, our partners in local government, in county government, and because of our partnership with Sea Grant and so many other nonprofits, including our Jersey Shore Collaborative. Thank you very much for your advocacy. And because of the work with our federal partners who contribute to the renourishment of our beaches on a continuous cycle. But that work of both protecting our shoreline and ensuring our water quality, it is not a work of magic. It doesn't just happen by itself. It happens because of the hard work and collaboration of all of these parties who come together in ways large and small to make sure that we're consistently improving upon our water quality and enhancing our coastal resources. The folks that are within our DEP programs that we see at events like this and throughout the summer season, they're not just working this season, but all year round, whether it's planting the lake shores up in the north or installing rain gardens to reduce stormwater runoff that inevitably improves our water quality. These small, sometimes seemingly invisible acts, they are critical to ensuring that our coast here along the Jersey Shore and our lake shores are able to host visitors and drive our economy. Right? Investing in those water quality improvements and in our resilience to coastal and to coastal hazards, as well as inland hazards from chronic inundation and sea level rise and the other effects of our changing climate, we know that those investments pay off and that we have to keep making them, whether it's through the continuation of investments in our Shore Protection Fund or the need for investments in coastal and climate resilience more broadly. Right? You don't have to look far to see the impacts of our changing climate and that our communities are already being impacted by harmful algal blooms that can infect our lakes and drinking water sources, extreme rain events that send pollution onto our beaches or into our other recreational waterways, or the sunny day flooding that disrupts our small businesses, and more extreme flooding that can sadly cost lives and disrupt livelihoods. You know, there's widespread agreement on the fact that increasing risks to our coastal communities here in New Jersey and across the world are accelerating, and they're putting at risk these very economies that drive a $50 billion industry here in New Jersey for tourism. Whether it is the risks of homes and businesses through structure risk because of coastal storm risks, or because of the inland risks that we face because of extreme flooding. But there's also widespread agreement on how to address those risks through wise measures that will see us investing more in planning and in resilience projects, the more we get that message across to those in our legislature and those who hold the purse strings. And I look forward to the continued advocacy of those around this space to make sure that we are putting to use the funding opportunities that we have to continue building the resilience of our coastal communities and our inland communities alike, because we know that investment pays off, right? Programs like the Building Resilience in Communities program that FEMA has long invested in, over $200 million for critical climate resilience projects here in New Jersey, right? That's not wasteful government spending, that's investment in the good health of our people and the security of our coastal and riverine economies. And if we don't do it, if we don't make those investments, if we don't secure our future, who else would? Right now, it's comforting to reflect on the success of the work that we've all done together to preserve our resources, to preserve our coast, to ensure that our economy continues moving forward in a really productive way. But again, that doesn't happen by itself. It only happens when we come together in spaces like this across all sectors to get the good work done. And I thank you all for that. And I thank Sea Grant and Stevens for all that you do to advance this important work. So let's enjoy the summer, y'all. Thank you.
Next up for the actual State of the Shore report is Dr. John Miller from Stevens Institute of Technology.
All right, thanks, Pete. I don't know if you know it, but we all get together before this event every year and we decide what the weather's going to be like. So we decided this year we were going to demonstrate what a storm looks like, and we were going to give back a nice, beautiful, sunny day for the rest of the summer to the community. So we can look forward to that later in the summer. I want to start by just echoing a lot of what the Commissioner just mentioned. Our beaches this year are in pretty good condition moving into the summer season. I would say excellent condition. It's due to a combination of factors. One certainly being, as the Commissioner was referencing, the sustained efforts of federal, state, and local commitments to shore protection and beach nourishment. It's possible through programs like the Army Corps of Engineers Beach Nourishment programs and the state's Shore Protection Fund. That contributes greatly. There are a lot of beaches that have just received nourishment this past winter, places like Seaside Heights and Ocean City, Cape May, and that's really helped them be prepared for the coming summer tourism season. The second factor that has contributed to the health of our beaches this year, in spite of what you might see outside today, is that we actually had a very mild winter in terms of coastal storms. We track this, again, we've been doing this every year for the past 15 years, 20 years, I don't know.
It was our 23rd.
23rd?
23rd one, but you've been involved, I think, close to 15 or 16
Okay.
of them for sure.
So this is definitely one of the more mild winters that we've had since I've been doing the State of the Shore report. So what we do is we actually look at a couple different things. One of the things that we look at is coastal flooding. We do that by analyzing the tide gauge records. Again, the NOAA tide gauges in Atlantic City, Sandy Hook, and Cape May. And we evaluate them and we compare the water levels to established thresholds that the National Weather Service provides. They define minor, moderate, and major flooding. This past winter, we were fortunate in that between Atlantic City and Sandy Hook, there was only one moderate flooding event that occurred. There were only about a handful, maybe half a dozen or so, that even exceeded the minor flooding threshold. So in comparison to what we normally see, much less days of flooding and many fewer hours of flooding along the Jersey Shore. Actually, I might have to adjust that because what you see out here, if our Stevens Flood Advisory Service is correct, the water will get about 6 inches higher during the next high tide. And that'll be on par with the highest water levels measured this past winter. So just for reference. And although it does look a little bit angry, it certainly does not look catastrophic or anything of that nature. The largest storm event this past winter in terms of flooding actually occurred in mid to late September. We had a pattern of consistent onshore winds over about a 15-day period from middle of September to early October. That just elevated water levels along the Back Bay communities, did cause some minor nuisance flooding. It's the so-called sunny day flooding, the nuisance flooding that you'll hear a lot about. That occurs because of these persistent long-term weather patterns combined with an atmospheric condition called spring tides. Spring tides just are higher than average tides that occur every 2 weeks or so. The largest actual flooding storm that caused flooding was a little bit later. It was in late November. The storm surge during that event was about 2.5 feet, which again, comparatively speaking to past years, is relatively small. The reason that event didn't cause the same amount of flooding as the event in September was simply because of the timing of the storm. So it occurred during a period of naturally lower tides, which is called a neap tide. So the timing of these events is something that we see playing a role more and more over the last couple years. It seems that consistently the events that exceed the minor and moderate flood thresholds are related to these spring tides and usually smaller storms. So we get these smaller to moderate sized storms just happening at the right timing, right phase of the tide, and that's what generates these extra high water levels. When we look at beach erosion, we then begin to take into consideration the wave conditions. Beach erosion is generally, we say there are 3 ingredients to beach erosion, one being elevated water levels, one being large waves, and the third being the duration of the storm. So you need all 3 of those factors really to determine how much erosion is going to occur. Again, we looked at wave records maintained by the National Data Buoy Center, which is again a NOAA operation. They record waves off the coast of New Jersey. There's about 4 different locations that they use. We look at 2 of them off the coast of Cape May, so we look at the South Jersey situation, and then we use another buoy off of Barnegat Inlet to look at the central and northern part of the coast. Again, those records indicate that this past winter was one of the mildest that we've seen over the past decade. The largest waves that we saw off the coast of Cape May were around 12 feet this past winter. To put that into perspective, last year we had 3 events that created waves larger than 15 feet. and 12 was basically our top this year. And for reference, if you look out right now, the gauge off of Barnegat Inlet is saying that the waves are about 12 feet now. So this is basically as bad as it got all winter. And again, although it is angry, it is certainly not catastrophic. And that's a good thing. We typically use a barometer of about 10 feet to define a low to moderate level storm for New Jersey. Off of Cape May, we only saw, I think it was 5 events that exceeded that 10-foot threshold, which is, again, a very good thing. Last year, we had 11 events that exceeded that threshold. So very, very mild from the standpoint of the wave activity off the coast. And then the other thing about those wave events is that they tended to occur later in the season, in March and April. So they didn't necessarily coincide with the flooding events that I had mentioned previously. So because we have these events kind of out of sync, we have some of the ingredients for coastal erosion, but not all of them happening at the same time. So the net effect is that it limits the amount of erosion in any of these storms. The erosion that we had this past winter is something that we classify as nuisance erosion. Again, this would be a great example of it. This type of a storm is going to cause some erosion to the beaches. Certainly communities are going to have to, or might scramble a little bit to kind of regrade the beach and kind of smooth it out before Memorial Day, so there is an impact, certainly. But it is not the type of event that removes large quantities of sand, causes massive erosion, puts our communities at risk. These types of nuisance events, in contrast to nuisance flooding events, nuisance flooding, it basically happens, the water comes up and it goes down immediately. The concern with nuisance erosion events is if you have an accumulation of these events. So if we have 4 of these events, 5 of these events, 6 of these events over the course of a winter, you can get a cumulative impact which is much greater than any individual storm. Again, this past winter, because we had so few events, we didn't even see much in terms of cumulative impacts. So that's another really positive sign. I think it does need to be pointed out that this is not what we expect. This is not typical of our winters. We've seen a lot of these nuisance events over the past decade. Some of the work that we do at Stevens has suggested that the number of hours of nuisance erosion is going to increase by a factor of about 3 by 2100, related to changing dynamics and atmospheric conditions and storm conditions and sea levels. And the number of events that are capable of causing minor dune erosion is going to increase by a factor of about 7. So moving forward, it's really important that we continue to maintain our commitment to nourishing our beaches, maintaining our beaches through things like the Shore Protection Fund and the Corps of Engineers programs. In terms of our outlook, the tropical weather outlook for this coming summer, we rely on forecasts from the Weather Channel, AccuWeather, Colorado State University. Pretty much all of the tropical forecasts are in alignment. They're suggesting that we're going to have a more active than normal hurricane season. Numbers are averaging around 17 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes. Each of those is about 1 or 2 storms above the typical averages. So not an extreme season, but certainly more active than typical. In terms of the impacts in New Jersey, Colorado State University puts the chances of a named storm impacting the New Jersey coast at about 29%, the chance of a hurricane impacting the coast at about 9%, and the chance of a major hurricane at about 1%. Depending on your perspective, these numbers might seem low, but it's important to keep in mind that storms like Hurricane Sandy and Hurricane Ida that caused major impacts in the state of New Jersey, before they impacted the coast, actually were downgraded, so they were not even necessarily a hurricane when they hit the coast. So it's really important that we maintain our commitment to preparing our beaches. You know, we have a nice wide beach here in Asbury Park. Many locations we have nice robust dunes as well. Those are the things that protect us from these storms. That's our first line of defense. The state has done a great job of maintaining its commitment to the Shore Protection Fund. That's the reason that the Corps of Engineers maintains its commitment to coming to New Jersey and building out these beaches and protecting our communities. I think it's important to point out that these beaches and dunes not only protect our communities, they also provide for our recreation, the tourism economy that the Commissioner had suggested has indicated is so important to the state of New Jersey. And lastly, they're also habitat for a number of threatened and endangered species like piping plovers and oyster catchers and red knots. So they really do have a triple bang for the buck, so to speak, when it comes to the importance of these features. And with that, I think I'm done.
Thank you, Josh. Next up, our final speaker is Laura KERR, who is our New Jersey Sea Grant Consortium's Coastal Resilience Specialist, and she is a Senior Research Engineer at Stevens Institute of Technology.
Thank you, Pete, for that introduction, and thank you, John, for the update on our amazing beaches, and Commissioner TOURETTE for his leadership. As New Jersey Sea Grant's Coastal Resilience Specialist and co-manager of the New Jersey Coastal Resilience Collaborative, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today about some of the ways that our great state is addressing climate threats and rising sea level, like rising sea level and increased storm intensity in our coastal region. Resilience is a broad concept with many definitions. The definition we choose to use at the New Jersey Coastal Resilience Collaborative, or the NJCRC, is the capacity of a coastal community to adapt to changing conditions. And as we've heard, that's what we've got. With about 1,800 miles of coastline and 53% of our population living in the coastal zone, it's imperative that we make this investment. As we know, Superstorm Sandy devastated our state nearly 13 years ago. And particularly since then, New Jersey has made great strides in becoming resilient. We are at the forefront of the nation and taking proactive actions that seek to secure our residents, visitors, infrastructure, ecosystems, and economy. The state and NJDEP are leaders in this effort. Through executive orders, the governor's office appointed a chief resilience officer and an interagency council on climate resilience. Led by the chief resilience officer, who is housed within the DEP, they developed the New Jersey Climate Resilience Strategy, which includes a coastal resilience plan. The DEP has also implemented the Resilient NJ program, which assists municipalities in working together to develop and implement community-led, risk-informed resilience action plans. This program has engaged communities all across the state and additionally provides resources and self-led resilience planning, and also helps them to identify funding for their projects. The award-winning Blue Acres program, also housed within the DEP, has earned accolades for its success in managing flood-prone properties. It serves as a national model for flood buyouts and as a proactive approach to both climate resilience and community support. Most recently, the DEP, through its diligence and foresight, won a competitive federally funded grant for $72.4 million. The project, Building a Climate-Ready NJ, has many facets that will impact every coastal county. It invests in the implementation of 5 transformational resilience projects, emphasizes workforce development, provides for education and regional resilience planning, and will establish and expand a resilience pipeline over the next 5 years. The NJCRC is proud to have been called out as a key reason that the Climate Ready NJ project was selected for funding. Comprised of over 100 entities working in various capacities to advance resilience across the state, the NJCRC is a community of practice that shares knowledge and inspires action. NJDEP is one of our founding partners. New Jersey Sea Grant is also one of the founding partners, and also supports the management of the NJCRC and our outreach activities. Last year, the NJCRC jointly hosted with the DEP, the Coastal and Climate Resilience Conference, where hundreds of coastal and climate resilience professionals, practitioners, municipalities, and stakeholders convened for 3 days. They exchanged knowledge, networked, and brainstormed on a wide range of coastal and climate issues. An incredible success. We'll be hosting another one in 2026. In the meantime, we're hosting smaller workshops that are focused on topics like coastal flooding, coastal ecological restoration, and municipal support for resilience planning. Our many partners from across the state are engaged in developing relevant resources through our work groups that are focused on targeted topics related to their individual expertise. For example, our technical assistance work group is focused on transferring technical knowledge and awareness to our coastal communities to help them build capacity to address their needs from within. Two important resources, a technical assistance directory and recordings of our bi-monthly coffee chats, can be found on our website. And those coffee chats are open to everyone. Our Coastal Ecological Restoration Work Group is focused on advancing restoration throughout our region. They're tackling topics such as science, policy, and regulatory hurdles associated with nature-based features for shoreline stabilization and the beneficial use of dredged material for restoring and maintaining our marshes that are struggling to persist through changing conditions. By sharing the best available science and on-the-ground lessons learned with scientists, engineers, landowners, and regulators, our work groups seek to ensure that our natural environment will continue to thrive under climate and anthropogenic stressors. The NJCRC is grateful to New Jersey Sea Grant for the support it provides. And this support is just one way that New Jersey Sea Grant works to advance resilience in our state. Through education and supporting necessary research, Sea Grant also helps New Jersey to be better prepared to mitigate future weather and climate impacts. As Commissioner LaTourette has said in the past, there is no one solution for addressing coastal resilience. A network of efforts is required, and that is the approach that we are all building. I'm confident that New Jersey will continue to lead the way, ensuring that our coastal communities and natural landscapes are prepared to face the litany of challenges that lie ahead so that we can all continue to work, live, and recreate on our awesome coast. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to our presenters. We'll hang up here as we close and open up for questions from the audience. 100 days, I guess, more or less, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, our high holy days here on the Jersey Shore. So it starts this coming weekend. So we're looking forward to it. We talked a lot about our beaches, and we talk about it in the view of our communities, our coastal communities, and the individuals within. But I just wanted to point out that when you go to the beach, let's beach safely. And one of those ways to beach safely is to pay attention to rip currents. And so for those who had the packet, but also on the table, we have some of our rip current bookmarks, signage, and a kid's brochure. That's very important so that we do not have loss of life here in New Jersey due to rip currents. It is something that we do face every year. I just wanted to decide, I was at, where were we? Island Beach State Park. We were just there at Ocean Fun Days on Saturday. And they still had up one of the Spanish signs that must be 15 years old or more. We'll have to see if we get those upgraded. But that project, our signage project, has been going since like 2020 or 2004. And I see a lot of signs still out there, and we encourage our communities to continue putting those up as replacements. So just a personal pitch to beach safely. Finally, thanks again for the presenters. Thank you to our audience, and thank you for our host today at Tim McClune's Supper Club. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Okay, any questions for our presenters? I'm trying to exclude myself, you know. So, but any questions?
Of course.
Okay, all right, if there are no public questions, we can go one-on-one. We have some.
I think I heard that basically federal cuts in NOAA and the ability to plan for climate change, it's concerning. I think the data that we've relied on for our report have so far been still available. It's, you know, it's hopeful that those streams, that streaming data, the maintenance of those gauges, the availability of that data will continue. Without that data, it's really difficult, if not impossible, to plan and construct good projects. It's impossible for communities to prepare, right? So understanding the condition that the beaches are in, being able to model and predict what the future is going to look like, to alert communities to when coastal flooding is going to occur and coastal erosion. All of those things are dependent on resources from the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, NOAA at large. So there are potentially some dramatic impacts to coastal communities if those resources are made unavailable.
Any other questions from the audience or from live stream? Okay, so now's an opportunity for everyone to speak with our presenters one-on-one. And again, thank you for attending today and continued interest and support of the state of the shore. So thank you very much. You have a great day.
Thank you very much.
And shout out.
I appreciate it. Thank you.